Right, welcome to Tunbridge Wells Parkrun, number 334, 21st of May 2022. And they're just about to, or we're just about to, I'm included in this as well. That's me filming. And we're off. I always find this the most difficult part of the pacing thing because you've got such a steep hill and your legs, with the adrenaline and everything, you just don't even feel like your legs are there. You just go along as fast as you want, but you can very easily overdo it here, so I just try and stick with a few people who I tend to finish with just for pace, on the basis that they probably know a bit more about pace than I do, seeing as I have a greyhound out the trap kind of mentality, just going for it and then fading about a kilometre up the road here, or just having a really horrible time for the rest of the race. So I probably am just going a little fast here, not by much, but probably 5 seconds a kilometre, just a little bit too quick, maybe 10. So just let those fast guys get away, or the faster guys get away. I can generally tell by the time I do the first kilometre, if I'm really puffing, then I know I've gone off a little too fast. I try and stick to, just over about 4 minutes 10 maybe, somewhere around there. And I have my watch set to actual pace, but it never seems to catch up for about 400 meters after the start. Never seems to put that down properly. And then the actual pace set on the screen plus distance at the top, so that's only really useful if you don't know the park run you're on. You just kind of get a feel for where you are. You can see the kilometers clicking by, and then there is time elapsed as well. I have those 4 screens up on my Garmin 935. So there's Kelvin in front, Ali, I can't remember Ali's last name, but I know she's a very good runner. There's Steve Bolton just establishing his dominance on the race. No, he's just probably just getting away. It's very narrow here, and if you have someone come alongside, actually be really careful not to clash elbows, because nobody wants to run on that dirty piece, because it's on a slope as well, so nobody really wants to go on that, and it's obviously it's not as good running on, obviously that guy does, not as good running on just sort of a rough patch as it is to run on a nice smooth bit of pavement or path. It's very hard. Look at that. I can't even get past these people. I would like to just sort of go just ahead, but now I'm here. Now you can run, but sometimes you find people are just, it's not their fault. It's up to the person passing to do it cleanly, but just as you're about to execute a pass, somebody else comes past you because they don't know what you're doing. So, and it's not like you have indicators on, or a board on the back of it that says I'm just about to pull out. And this is the first little obstacle again. This can turn into a real bog. I think we're seeing one of the later ones in 336, which I haven't put up yet. And that's got 6 inches of water, or 6 inches of mud and 6 inches of water in it. And it's quite a hazard. Usually I just jump clean over it, but if you lose your footing as you jump, you can be in trouble. Now, this is like a fair bit of incline here, so usually you start to feel it if you've done too much, and it's quite an amusing piece. So just keep your eye on the guy in the white here. You can see one of his rivals has clearly set up a trip hazard for him ahead. So if you keep watching, you'll see what happens. Okay. Clearly someone's given the attack. Right, go for him now. Look at that. That dog was set up to actually just try and take him out, just so one of his rivals could win. Kind of despicable behaviour you get at park runs. Yep, nothing worse than a decoy dog. So this piece here is, again, you probably can't see it on the camera, but if you walk down it, it's really difficult even to walk it, because it's all lumps and holes and ruts. You can see the ruts perhaps on the left there. Those things are 6 inches deep, and some of them are sort of 10-12 inches wide, where the lorries that from, I think it was Party in the Park, came. Look at that guy still losing his footing. Really it doesn't improve till about here. You're just hoping you could just don't step into one of the ruts. And I'm quite enjoying the fact they sent us round that sort of really rutted patch, because the ground has been baked solid. We just haven't had much in the, not, we had a lot of sun, but we just haven't had a lot of wet weather just to soften it up, and it's actually been quite painful underfoot. I was often just reverting back to my Hoka speed goats, because they just have that sort of a little bit more strength in the sole, so you don't feel the the footprint ruts, which is what a lot of it is, dried out footprint ruts, and they're quite jaggy on your feet, so you have to be careful there. So people coming past me, that's always a bit worrying, because you know you've set off too fast by then. If those guys are, by the look of it, they're going to be running probably a minute ahead of us by the end of this. So if they've held back, then you just know you've blown it. But it'll come. It's a skill to get the pace right. And I've been reading something about the Tinman technique, and he was saying something about the first 20% of the race should be, which is the first kilometre in a 5-kilometre race, should be easier than you think it should feel. The middle sort of 60% should be at pace, should be where you really want to be, pace wise, and then the last kilometre is all out. And I've got to admit, I probably 9 times out of 10 have just reversed that. The first kilometre's all out, 20%. The middle bit is probably above pace, and the last kilometre, the last 20% is not usually the fastest. So here we go. So now we've got this. The summer course goes downhill now. So basically, from that first kilometre bend, right back in the sort of 4 or 5 minutes in, it's all downhill. Just a gentle. Now it starts to go quite steep. So I tend to use this to just let the legs go, and not put much effort in. And you're often doing sort of 3:45-minute kilometres here. And look at that, I'm actually catching somebody else up who went a bit quicker than me. So again, another hard lesson to be learned there. Just start out a lot slower. And you're probably only talking about 10-15 seconds a lap, if that, probably 10 seconds a lap. It's a huge difference. I mean, if someone said, do you run 10 seconds, a kilometre quicker, you'd be, wow, that's a lot. Well, then you could slow down by 10 seconds. Is also a fair chunk to slow down by, but it's recoverable, because you are going to pick up a pace later on. And if you can do 3-4 seconds a lap, you're going to make that up over the 5k. So this is quite a flat area now coming through. It's always quite a nice little part. It's really starts just about here to end being a downhill, and now starts to gently go uphill. And there's this quick, I call it the chicane here. I like to try and make up time on the corners. I used to do a bit of amateur racing, car racing, so I always like to take the corners as fast as you can. Wide entry in and a narrow entry out, and you get the slingshot effect, and you're not thrown too wide either. So again, now I've got a problem here, because I actually did want to actually go a little bit faster. I wanted to be faster than this guy in the white, because I just wanted to let my legs go. And I know Kelvin is probably slightly faster than me on this day, and so I had to say, look out, I'm on your left. And then I knew I could G Kelvin up. Give it some big bananas, Kelvin. And there he goes. He's always better on the hills than me, so he's going to start to push. And that is so tough, this bit. That hill, that first part of that hill there, it's just really, really steep. I think it's 16% there. This is more like a 8, 9, 10%. But I just wanted to not lose time. I wasn't trying to beat these guys. I just didn't want to lose the time that I knew was going to be really difficult to, or easy to lose and difficult to make up. I thought just go this, my speed through there. They obviously wanted to go a little slower. And it's something to do, if you hear my cadence, dun, 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 it's 156, which is really slow, and I've been picking up injuries. My knees have been swelling up, feeling a bit painful, and I've been training myself to do it at 170 cadence. See, wide into that corner, and just kept the pace going. A lot of people slow down a lot through there. I try not to slow down at all, and then I just let my legs go. I'm not doing any running here, putting any pressure on. I'm just letting my legs go. Ooh, pedestrians on the track. Or are they running? I don't know. They must have started very early. If they were running, I can already see I'm puffing and Kelvin's pulling ahead. So I seem to be cat and dog, but I mean, at this point in the race or in the run, my pace is sort of a little variable. So this will be the 3rd kilometre now, and it's generally not a particularly fast kilometre because you have that big hill in there, but you do have that downhill as well, which again almost evens it out. Although it's exhausting, you get a rest. So, and now I realise, looking at my watch, I'm probably dropping into 4:28 or 4:20 minute kilometers, and I think, right, don't lose it here. This is always the point where I start to just fade a little bit. So if I can hang on to the back of these guys, I should be okay. But it's easier said than done. So yeah, just trying to not lose time through here, really, rather than gain time. I'm just like trying to just get into 4:20s, 4:15s. That would be ideal. I noticed that I could be, from my fastest lap to my slowest lap, could be 30 seconds. Sometimes it was 40 seconds, which you're doing something wrong if that's the difference. Because this track, every kilometre is different. The first and right the way through the 5th, they're just completely different. The only thing I can do is compare each segment. If you split the whole track, one lap, into say 4 segments, and then try and match your pace on those, it's probably about the only way you can compare like for like. Because trying to do it by each kilometre, it just doesn't mean anything. Because kilometres 1, 2 and 3 are relatively easy, or 3 is a bit difficult, then 4 is tough and 5 is tough as well. So because they just aren't the same they're not the same as the others. They've got different inclines and everything. So again, we're on a bit of I think it's just a gentle downhill slope here, but it doesn't really much feel like it. And then you've got a fair bit of slope just there. Just give your legs a moment's rest. And then I never know. I'm trying to just run through this ditch and just try and get a little bit of a slingshot. But I know this guy's probably going to be slower than me through here. And what you don't want to do is lose momentum, because if you lose a little bit of momentum to back off from someone else and you're a bit tired, then it's really hard to pick it back up again. So especially it's now going into an uphill. So hopefully the kamikaze fuzzy dog won't be there. It's incredible to believe that dog just did that. It just dived at someone's feet. It's like he thought out of its own self-preservation it wouldn't have done that, but there you go. Look, and that guy's almost exactly the same position with me on the 2nd lap as he was on the 1st lap. I always think from the back he looks very much like Ben Parks, the guy who does the training videos, park running training videos. He's got a very good warm-up, by the way, Ben Parks. So I always do the Ben Parks warm-up and the Ben Parks cool down, plus a couple of other little things. and my stretching has become less of a strain. It's just, it's instead of injuring myself with the stretching, I've managed to actually still feel quite good, not pull anything. Again, all these ruts and stuff. I'm just letting my breathing do what it wants. Thank you, Paul. He's usually running, so I don't know why not today, but probably just fancied a bit of a rest. Just let my breathing just do what it wants. So I'm not pushing. Sometimes I've been doing belly breathing, but I was reading that there's a danger of you sort of hyperventilating, and your body needs the CO2 to tell it to burn energy. It's probably a crude explanation of what's going on, but I did find if I just let my breath just do its own thing, I actually found I had more energy. Otherwise I'd start to go a bit lightheaded just by really deep breathing, deep belly breathing. So probably there's a compromise to be had there, but I haven't quite worked that out yet. So now you get a sense from from where the rut started. It's all a gentle downhill slope. It's like a 2-3% slope, something like that. So it's really that all the way through until you get to the hills at the finish. So, which is quite nice. I think there's a slight rise up here, and then it goes down again. But you can see it feels visibly like a downhill. Beautiful, all the trees out with the leaves out and everything. Much better than those bleak videos you perhaps saw that I filmed back in November and October, and then January and February. So I tend to stay here because some people run up on the left-hand side here, but it means that, and it's actually quite an like a slope in, so it means that one leg is doing something different to the other, and I find it sort of quite tiring. So I run in the rut, which tends to be where the center point is, and that's Ali streaking off again. So clearly I was going too fast. Probably all those times you saw me going past people, that was probably a mistake. But there you go. I'm gradually learning. This ground here is as hard as concrete. You can really feel it under your feet because it's all your dried footprints, and so the points of them, you tend to feel the sort of the ridges through your feet, and I have to often end up with sort of sore feet the next day. Just people walking around in the park, and it's true. We're the ones who know we're running. All the people out there for a walk, most people probably don't even know there's a park run going on. They just probably think, there's a lot of joggers out today. Why would you? Unless someone had told you there's an organised run, then you start to see perhaps people in marshals sort of standing around and think, oh right, maybe something's going on. But of course, you've already sort of encountered runners by then. So it's our job, as the ones who know what we're doing and know we're approaching, to just be careful of the other people and not run into anybody, especially in this sort of hedged section that runs down. I call it sort of the hedge tunnel, and it's very easy as you come around the bend there to actually walk into someone who's walking up, so you just have to be a bit careful. I tend to stay a bit wide there. So into the chicane. Marshals applauding us through. That does help, although I find I don't have the strength even to acknowledge them. So, and again, this is a nice little downward slope. And it's a place in the winter actually. You can see gold crests if you walk down here. You don't realise they're in the park, but they're often flitting around in the between the sort of conifer bushes and conifer trees that are here. There's some sort of shrubs that look a bit like it. So this is the bit I tend to stay wide, but I've had people walk up here and of course you nearly go smack into them. So this is the lowest point here, and that's about 320 meters now of pretty much solid 12-16% slope. This is really is a steep slope. Look at that, my head has gone down just because of the slope there. Now you've got a slight bit of level because obviously the water's there, so it will be level, and then you're back into 12% slope. I think it, as you get around this corner, it goes into about 8%. Now really all you're doing now is just trying to I keep thinking I'm going to push, and I think, well, I'll wait a little while, maybe I'll push in a bit, but really you've just got to try and run as fast as you can, shorten those steps, push with the hamstring muscles. There's nothing worse than people coming flying past you here like that. I think that's Chris Marley. Look, how can you possibly be doing that speed in the same shoes as me as well? But again, shorter stride. Listen to my breath, it's just hanging on. And that finish just never seems to arrive. The times I say to myself, keep running past the finish line, and I've seen videos of myself coming up to it, and you slow down. You slow down. It's just before you get to the finish line, and you even see it. I've even seen it in Olympic races. People just pull up at the last minute. And of course, there's no danger of someone diving up the inside here. But so that's about it. So please like and subscribe, and put comments below. Let me know what you liked. See you in the next one.